In the last 7 days, Donut Media has lost 2 of their biggest personalities, and they went on to go make a new channel that's already, by the time we're filming this, 900,000 subscribers.
That's insane.
5 days.
By the time this goes live, it's over 1 million guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is like 6 or 7 days that we're filming this after that.
And it's incredible to think. Like, the one thing that goes through my head is, does Donut, the people that own it, understand what they just like allowed to happen? You know what I mean? You're on one side of the fence. Obviously, everybody's talking about the downfall and this and that. There's a lot of drama around it. But for me, and the way that I look at it, it's kind of like the same recipe as everyone else that's gone through this issue, which I would say we were probably the first. All right, and we ain't no copycats around here. But
I was the first to quit. No.
But I think about this, and it's like, do you think people at Donut Media right now, like the executives and the owners, are like, did we really just let them go out there and say that, and now we're screwed?
Part of me thinks yes, that they're like, oh, fuck. Like, damn, that maybe wasn't the best move, just to kind of like nicely part ways and just go let them, do whatever, say whatever. But on the other hand, part of me, like just going through this whole experience myself, has probably, they're just like, they don't even fucking know or care.
You really don't think so? What do you think, Dakota?
I don't know. I have respect that Donut was able to allow them to kind of speak a lot more transparently about it than what I had expected. Like when I initially watched the video of Zach and Jeremiah leaving, I was expecting a very cookie cutter. We left because it wasn't the same, but they got more into it than what I thought. So big ups to Donut for allowing them to do that. I think, I mean, 2 personalities leaving a channel at the same time is a message. You know, something wasn't going right for them to split. So I don't think it would have been good if it was all dead silence and they just left. So it's what's the lesser of 2 evils? And I think them being on same terms, similar terms, and they did say in the video too, like, hey, we'll be in some of Donut's content still and stuff like that.
Right.
They're just keeping it civil.
Yeah. There's no way that's actually happening. I think I want to say, I hope that people can see the situation and maybe give Donut a little bit more credit than what I think people are giving Donut right now. Because Donut's getting raked over the coals.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Parent company, blah, 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 blah. They ruined it. It's terrible.
Sellouts, blah,
it's like,
blah, blah.
let me be clear. There are a lot of companies, and trust me when I say I have personally gone through this, that will not let you talk about certain things. They will make sure that they control every single word that you say when you exit an organization. There are plenty, if not dozens of times that happens with YouTube personalities, and that's why you get cookie cutter reasoning when they make their goodbye video. And sometimes they don't even let you make the video to begin with because they don't want you to make any noise about the fact that you left. So I think it's worth, hopefully, saying, you know, I'm really hoping that Donut was transparent and open and said, yes, we see the message, we know what you're saying, and we're still okay with it because it's the respectful thing to do. Because if that is the case, props to those guys and gals. I know nobody wants to hear it, but holy shit, to have that strong of a chin to get kind of knocked up and say, yeah, well,
that is what happened. That is what it is.
We'll persevere.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right on that, because the other option would have been of like them just not saying anything, not recognizing anything, not allowing them to say anything, and then it's like, then you have people coming to their own conclusions. You get the cookie cutter response. People read between the lines. They dig into it even more, and maybe they come to the right conclusion. But more times than not, it's probably going to be the wrong one. So, no, I think that is big from them to, if like it was even allowed, to have them go out there and say the stuff that they did, because I think that's huge.
Welcome to MartiniWorks Podcast. Today we're talking about Donut Media. We're talking about our trip to Continental Tire, and we're talking about some of the progress that we're making here, jumping into the summer at the shop, our cars, some of the progress we're making on a new build that we're actually working on right now. So if this is your first time to the podcast, welcome. I'm Alex.
I'm Gels.
I'm Dakota.
And hopefully,
I've never done that.
If you're looking to mod your car over at MartiniWorks.com. I realize that sometimes we have new viewers who don't know our voices and don't know who we are. So we love building cars, and if we do know anything, it's car parts. What we don't know is sometimes how to build them, but we try our best. Yeah. So with that being said, Donut Media, lots of changes. I would say the only other thing I kind of want to bring up that's always so ambiguous. The most ambiguous person on that team is James Pumphrey. He's the most ambiguous person I've ever met in my life. Even in person, he is just as like woogie woogie. I don't know how to explain it. He's like
Serious man.
He's a serious but mysterious man.
I saw his like cryptic post that he made like last night.
Just a green
Instagram.
heart
Yeah.
and a
We'll
cobra.
talk soon.
And green profile picture.
Yeah.
I don't think he would leave. Do you?
I don't know.
I don't know. James has pretty big stakes in Donut, doesn't he?
I don't know.
We have
He's been there for a long time. Even before he was on screen, he was there.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty hard pressed to see him not have something in there. Because he has been with it for so long, like you said, but also he's been through so many transitions within the organization.
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning, when it got bought, when I maybe got bought again, but like he's gone through like role changes, position changes, personality changes, series change, and he's stuck through like all of it. So it would be pretty interesting to see if he would ever leave. But I do think he loves, I don't know if this is maybe too much, but like I think he loves not just cars, but I think he loves like script writing and writing and being an actor and being a performer. So it could be a change, but it could be a change outside of the automotive world too. And I don't think that would be that hard to see.
I mean, this isn't like, I mean, it's a big deal that Jeremiah and Zach left. I mean, they were more on the gearhead side of things, right? But it's not going to cripple Donut by any means. They still have James Nolan and the other guy, he's newer too. I guess not that new anymore. What's Justin?
Yeah, I mean they have a few different personalities.
And they have another one that's like up and coming too. Jimmy, I can't remember his
They
name.
have a whole different channel too.
Forgive me, I haven't brushed up on Donut in a minute, but they still have powerhouses in there to make dope creative content. I think people are giving them a lot of flack because it's just like the content has been more generic recently.
Yeah. I was gonna say they've been under fire for like, and I say that loosely, but it's like, for a few years now, ever since they really stopped doing like the big videos.
They're
like
not doing anything bad. They're just making content that appeals to a broader audience, not just people that are into automotive space. But I mean, they're a YouTube channel, so they're trying to get as many views as possible for their sponsors and whatnot. But a lot of people are like, yo, I want to see more of like bumper to bumper, up to speed. And
High,
like,
low.
Yeah, that stuff that was really ingrained in like car enthusiasts. And they've just broadened that up. And I think with Zach and Jeremiah, they were able to excel at that more because those guys, can really wrench on cars. They know what they're doing. So like Zach coming from ECS and stuff beforehand, he's been in this for a minute. Jeremiah is like an engineer. He's really smart guy. So it definitely hurts, but it's not going to cripple him by any means. I think Donut gets more flack than they really should.
I think that's because they are the biggest.
Yeah,
right.
And you're always going to get
They
that.
are the biggest. And
you have the most eyes on you. I
don't know. Scotty Kilmer might be bigger.
we're not talking about that. One thing I will say is a lot of people have a tendency to completely bypass this weird thing. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. And it starts with the letter M and it ends with unny. Money.
Oh.
Great job, everyone. The thing with this, that when you look at Donut Media, they're a media company. They are a YouTube like they create content and that's how they get paid.
Right.
And so they have to chase the metrics that allow them to continue to get paid. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys and gals. YouTube is constantly screwing with creators on how much they get paid. You can have
consistently.
You can have a 250,000 subscribers and make 10 grand a month, and then you can have 1 million subscribers, and for some reason or another, you're still making 10 grand a month. I remember even way back in the day, we'd see ad revenue, like our RPM, do like this, it'd go up and up and up, and then like at the beginning of the year, and then they reset you at some like shitty RPM, and then you start going up, and again. And with all the agencies changing and with there being new content channels, like getting ad revenue as a sustainable way to make a living is not, like, it's dead. That's why you see all your favorite content creators starting like candy companies and beverage companies and things like that, because they're like, we can't rely on ad revenue.
Yeah, it's so volatile.
It's terrible.
So volatile.
And so when you look at Donut specifically and you're like, why do they keep making huge videos? It's like, because they have to.
To stay in business. So that was another interesting topic that they brought up in the video as well. They touched a lot on 2020 and the impact that COVID had on them. And like what that meant for creating content, how they were like, we remember it, stuck in our garages trying to pump out videos as much as we could. But out in California, they were in lockdown for a lot longer than we were, almost like 2 years. And they were saying like, yeah, it was a lot of work, but like we blew up during COVID, and so did a lot of other channels and a lot of companies and things like that. And then, that when that happened, they kind of mentioned that expectation grew. They're like, to be able to grow on top of that and not dip was very, very hard, and that expectations of got to keep going. You got to keep going. It's like, dude, that's a fluke in like any metrics that you look at, like 2020 to like 2021, just fucking disregard, because like that is so out of the normal of what happens. And obviously for businesses, but then YouTube too, everyone's stuck at home. The only thing they have to do or like we're able to do was watch shit.
Yeah, it was Tiger King and YouTube.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, I think that played a huge impact in that as well. And like, when you're looking at like the metrics of things like, oh, we can't dip down lower this, we can't go backwards.
Do you guys think, because this isn't the first time with us leaving, with Donut leaving, with Hoonigan leaving.
Was another big one.
Car Throttle, was that the one? Yeah. All these are happening. Do you think the majority of the reason is these corporate companies that own these channels they have too high of standards or goals?
I think there's a little twofold here. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. Because it's really easy to bash on the big guy. It's really easy to bash on the company. I do think sometimes, because there's not a good enough framework around it, a personality gets big on a branded channel, and there starts to be conflict because as they get bigger, they become more vocal. They become more confident. Sometimes one would argue they get a little bit more egotistical inside of the brand and what the brand needs to do. And it can be a very selfish thing. Being a content creator is naturally a selfish thing. Like, as weird as it is to say, because you're constantly thinking of yourself, what videos you're going to make, how you're going to show people how cool you are, for you to show how awesome this thing is happening. And when you work within a brand, it doesn't always go that way. A company is saying, hey, man, we have to push this product, or hey, our inventory company or our team bought $2 million of this wheel. We need you to talk about this wheel. And as a personality, you start to say, no, I don't want to, because I don't want to talk about that. And so I think that sometimes the era of having a personality within a brand, I think, is over. I really do. I think that's gone and done for. But corporations that blow up as fast as they did, especially like Donut, I don't think they were prepared for what COVID had. And I do think it was. I think it was a huge just miscommunication. A content creator's not going to look at 2020 and be like, oh, we were successful because of COVID. They're going to say, COVID happened, but we also made really good content. There's that. So when a content creator takes credit for the success or some of the success, but then takes no accountability for the potential drop, companies see that as, well, you can't do that. You can't just take the win but not take the loss. And so I think there's a lot of just...
Yeah, no, I get that.
I think there's a big misconception, though, I've seen in comments about people leaving and stuff, too, that it's like the personality gets greedy and they just want to leave so that they can make their own YouTube channel and make a ton of money on their own. I can't speak for everyone. I don't know if that's the case in some of these situations or not, but I can definitely say it's way fucking harder than what you think. Like, I don't think that's that feasible to just leave and boom, you're instantly making more money. That's not how it works.
No.
I think initially you are. Like, to be fair, I think, Big Time and those guys popping into 1 million subscribers and being fifth on trending on their first video, I think absolutely they're going to make a shit ton of money on that video. They're going to make way more than what they were making at Donut. But the consistency and that over time, I agree with. Like, over time, it gets much harder. You can see, like, I think Vin has been doing a really good job after leaving Hoonigan, finding that flow and style. But he's even said, like, it's fucking hard. Like, it's hard to make content and make money on your own.
It's really fucking hard.
Yeah. And I know the one message that they were really driving home in that video, which I really loved, was like, obviously they were talking about when they first started, they moved like literally across the country, living out of RVs and shit. When they got there, it was kind of like almost immediately it sounded like, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I was told I was going to be doing this, and then I'm not doing that yet. And then it kind of changed, and now I'm doing this, and then kind of even changed even more when new ownership came in and things got bought and stuff like that. And they weren't able to do what they loved, and it's like they were kind of dealing with it. Like, oh, it'll get better, but maybe we can keep doing this. And then, they really loved working on cars. They loved doing like the hands-on, like the build stuff, and like really showcasing that, like getting down and dirty with cars, like a car channel, that they, think it is like should be doing. And then they were saying that like, oh, it kept getting denied. They put a proposal out there to do this. It would get rejected, denied. And they're like, it can only take so much of that before it's like, oh, fuck, I'll just go do it myself then.
Very familiar. Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's money. And I think there's going to be a mountain of content of people talking about why it doesn't work. It's like corporate doesn't understand content, and content doesn't respect business, and business wants to make money. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, I think there's a good balance between it, but I think in all honesty, the way forward is transparency. As lame as that sounds, because like for us, if you guys are listening to this and you're watching this, you know that we have two sponsors in the podcast. It's Continental and it's Fortune Auto. We run them both. We love them both. We use them all the time. We talk about the tech. We talk about the specs. But then if you go to the main channel, you go to the Unbox channel, you see what? You see us talk about products. You see us talk about things that we want you to pick up at MartiniWorks. We talk about it. Mod your car at MartiniWorks.com. Because at the end of the day, the reason that we don't have ads in our main channel, the reason that we don't talk about, some random ass fucking product is because you support us by being here, by buying car parts from us. And we're super honest with that. That's how this whole thing works. It doesn't work off ad revenue. It doesn't work off t-shirt sales. It doesn't work off of anything else. But hey, you buying a wheel and tire package? Get it from us. You want some coilovers? Let's help you get those coilovers. And in my belief, as like starting this thing with you guys, it's always been, we're gonna be super fucking honest with you.
100%.
That's how we are doing this. There's no other way to do it, because if we do it through ad revenue and ad deals, I think it starts to get really messy. Whereas doing it through car parts, it's directly tied to, what are we doing? We're building cars. We're talking about cars. If we want to make more money, do cool car stuff. Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything else you want to add on that one, Dakota?
No, I think it's so interesting, and we're in such a weird time that this has happened so many times, and it keeps happening.
Yeah, and the consistencies and everything is hard to miss. Yeah. Like it's you sit down, you watch the videos, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy, and then it's like you listen to the stories, and it's like, man, that sounds really fucking familiar. Yeah. it's like holy shit, it just keeps happening, and I don't think we've seen nearly the end of it.
No, I think as long as, for everybody that doesn't know, if you start hearing this COVID conversation come up and you're like, wow, that was 4 years ago, why is that still a thing? Well, it's because a lot of these deals that come in from private acquisition, they typically have a 5-year burn rate, meaning that when these PE companies, private equity companies, come in 2019 or 2020, they're coming in with a short-term investment plan, less than 5 years, turn and burn, make enough money to go back out into the market and say, we will sell this for 4 times EBITDA, 5 times EBITDA. That just means number at the bottom of the balance sheet, times that by 5, that's what they're willing to pay. Gotcha. During 2020, private equity companies were paying automotive businesses 12 to 20 times EBITDA for their business. This, I'm not kidding. I used to see these deals come through where it was like 12 times EBITDA for a wheel company, 15 times EBITDA for an auto parts reseller company. Like,
crazy.
Nuts. You'd ask anybody that's in that field nowadays that deals with buying and selling stuff, and you say, hey, yeah, we're going to buy this e-commerce dropship company for 12 times EBITDA, they'll slap you in the head. It's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. So these companies that did it are like,
time to pay up.
Holy shit, we need to get this thing locked in, because we got to sell this thing. Like, that's what they have to do. The same thing happened with Feast, what's the Hot Ones? That's owned by BuzzFeed.
Sure.
They're taking $100 million burn rate right now. They want to sell the Hot Ones for $70 million.
Jesus
After they acquired it, because they're like, we don't know how we're going to make money with this. We have absolutely no idea.
It sounds like everyone bought in when the iron was hot, and now that it's all over with, we're 5 years later, it's like, hey, time to pay up, and everyone's like, we ain't got it.
Yeah.
Shit went back to normal, and we ain't got it.
Hey, Carissa, can you just stop for the next couple minutes, please? We love you. Carissa's doing her best to work while she's also making the most possible noise she could.
Hey, we got cool parts in the mail, though.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for those things. If you guys don't know, we're going to talk about our build series actually coming up here in the next segment. But not before talking about our sponsor.
Conti.
I would like to be clear before you go into the pitch. We went to go to the Continental factory. We're going to talk about this in the podcast. But at the beginning of the trip, Dakota slid in. Conti.
Yeah, I'm getting it in their brains.
To everyone.
And it worked.
The people that worked at Conti, Engineering Explained, Speed Academy, Ben from Gears and Gasoline, all of them. And by the end of it, it was a well-adopted term.
People are saying it.
Please go ahead.
All right, so if you're interested in a set of Continentals, you're going to hear us talk about it in a minute because we got to go to the actual factory and learn how they were made, which, no joke, was a mind-blowing experience because tires are not made the way that you think they're made, at least the way that we thought they were made, and I thought we had a pretty good idea. But Continental offers an absolute plethora of sizes, which is one of the reasons that I love them. And to go there and see the quality that they put in, these people are passionate, and that tire is handled by a human being the whole way through the process, and the quality that goes into it and checking every single tire that goes out of that factory is insane. So it really made me appreciate the brand even more, and that's why we love to have them as a sponsor on the MartiniWorks podcast, because they make good freaking tires. So if you want to check out Continentals, you can do that at martiniworks.com.
During our time in the Carolinas.
Carolina's tour.
Yeah, the whole
Both
thing.
of them.
We got to go see a soccer game with Continental. That was exciting.
Really
and also
fun, actually.
Very anticlimactic at the same time because it ended in a tie.
Any sport should not ever be allowed to end in a tie. I hate that.
Yeah, that was stupid. And then
the
everybody
game
like
was cool.
so the most confusing part of soccer to me is like it goes to 90 minutes or whatever, and I saw the clock and it was like, 89.
Yeah, I know.
32, and I'm like, oh dude, 20 seconds left. This is it.
Yeah.
And they're like running up and down the field and they're getting stoked.
And
And
then
the
it just
crowd's
kept going.
the crowd's going and getting excited. And everybody's excited. And then it goes to 90 minutes. I'm like, kick the fucking ball. And then it kept going.
And no one was in a rush.
No, and it was like 90 minutes and 32
So-
seconds. And I'm like, is this like a soft stop? Like, does the ball have to go out of bounds for it to 94 minutes in? Nothing happened. No fireworks. Then everybody's just like, all right, we'll
done.
see you later. All right, have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Absolutely wild. So like I could not believe Dakota and I were just blown away the entire time. We're like, this field is fucking huge. It's bigger than like a normal like American football field. Like they've used the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like
these guys
and
are
they
running.
have not stopped for 38 minutes. No timeouts, no breaks. And then what happened is anytime someone did get hurt or they were reviewing something, if someone got ejected or whatever, they would just add that time back onto the end, which is why we got 4 additional minutes on top of the 90 minutes.
Them
So it's like
boys running.
they did not stop whatsoever. They ran for like 40 minutes and then we're like, all right, we're going to break for 5.
So if you didn't know, Continental sponsors soccer teams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why we were there to check it out, and we were there with a bunch of really cool people. So Engineering Explained,
Yeah,
the
Jason.
Straight Pipes, Gears and Gasoline, Tall Ben was there.
Speed Academy.
Speed Academy.
HH Wheels.
Bunch of dude, it was so cool. It was such a
super
neat
fun.
event. We got to spend some time with them before we got into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, the next day we got to spend time at the BMW Performance School.
Yep.
That was really fun. So we spent half a day there. Got to drive around M4 comps,
really cool
M5
cars.
comps. We got to do autocross.
They were on Extreme Contact Sport.
Everything.
They were
right?
all on
Everything.
Continentals. Yeah, it felt super good. Was a very, very fun track. You guys still love the M4s?
Dude,
M4 is
the
good.
M4 is like my unrealistic dream car.
M5 is a beast too, though.
The M5 slaps. That fucker like feels like you're going into the warp zone when you floor it.
I wasn't the biggest fan of like the look of it. I was like, oh man, this is just like a.
It doesn't look as sporty.
It's just a
Yeah.
bigger car, and then we got into it. And I was like, holy fuck!
Yeah, the new M5 now weighs more than a Plaid, like a Tesla Model Plaid.
Yeah.
They're like 5,000 pounds, 5,200 pounds or something like that because they just released it.
That was a lot of car for that tiny track.
The M5 we drove is faster than the new M5 too, in the 0 to
didn't know
60.
that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the new one's actually slower, but it gives you 5 different dynamic modes, but
Oh,
2 are locked behind a
paywall?
paywall
What?
technology.
No,
I'm dead serious.
Oh my god.
I'm
that's the most ridiculous shit
hate
I've
that.
ever heard. In my
Hate
life.
that.
The new M5 is like you can run electric up to 80 miles an hour, and then you have standard mode, and then you have dynamic mode. But if you want the performance mode or the performance dynamic mode, that, my good friend, is going to be some ridiculous, stupid upsell.
I just threw up.
I don't like it. Anyway,
we also got to drive the new Z4, which is the
like
Supra's
the Supra cousin.
brother, cousin, sister-in-law type deal.
Yeah.
And I got some questions while I was there because people knew that I had a Supra. Like, how close was it? And I'm curious to, I mean, you guys have been in the newer Supra and stuff too, and you got to drive the Z4, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But obviously there were similarities, 100%. You can't get around it, but it was more different than I was expecting. I definitely a different platform. I don't know how else to explain it.
Felt very BMW. Like it
Not
had,
that the Supra doesn't.
No. But like you get in the Supra, and there's still like little things about it that I think keep you grounded on the Toyota side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. When I got in the BMWs and we were running around and doing the tour, I was overburdened by the amount of technology that was in the new BMWs.
Yeah.
Like we pressed the M1 button on the steering wheel.
Yeah, but then you had to also change the iDrive configurations, and then you had to put it in an additional thing, and then press the M1 button on the steering. It was like it was like starting up a goddamn 737 by the amount of shit that I had to like activate just to get the car to drive fast.
How many cars did we drive that have like a similar system? And we got in, we're like, what mode is it in? I can't even tell.
I remember when we fucking went out to California to do that stuff, and they gave us the M4, and we're literally like sitting in the parking lot in this car, and like, I can't get it out of fucking manual mode. How do I get it out of manual? What is M1 but what's M2 do? What is this? Like, what is it in? It won't get out of the reverse camera. And it's like taking up the entire fucking front of the car. And we're like,
you remember like the old like magazines you could buy for $5 where you had all the cheat codes for like GTA 4?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I need that. Like, I need like a hot card that just comes with the BMW that's like,
Guys.
hey, you want to do this? Here you go.
Guys, what if it's not the cars?
it's us. It's 100%.
We're old.
No, because
It's 100%.
We're fucking old.
I'm going to tell you the most hilarious experience I had the entire time at the driving academy. So it's me and Jason, Engineering Explained, and we hop into the M5 and we're getting ready to rock and roll. And, and like we're playing around with the buttons, trying to figure out how to get the most power out of the car possibly can. And I get to it, and like we're shifting things around, and there's handling and steering and suspension and powertrain or something like that. And we turn all of them to the max, and then the steering wheel wasn't the one to the max, so then I go and I put it to dynamic, the steering input.
Sure.
And Jason looks at me, and looks back and puts it back to comfort, and I'm like, "Why'd you do that?" He's kind of got like a little bit of a nasally voice. He's like, I don't need it to fight me when I'm driving. I'm already going to have enough fun as it is. I want to be comfortable. And I'm like, that is the most engineering response I could possibly get from this
that guy was
That-
fast as fuck, though.
That changed in a real fucking hurry when we went to the autocross portion, and he kicked your ass out of the car because he realized it was a competition. He's like, you're gonna need to get.
It was like the most polite thing. So Jacob and Yuri were driving, and Jacob got out of the car, I think, right away.
Yeah.
And I just saw Jason. He looks like,
It like connected the dots.
and he's like looking at him. And all of a sudden on the radio, the coach goes, "All right, guys, we're going to be timing your first 5 runs. Best place is going to get a little something from the school when we're done. No cone hitting, and in the box." And the moment the guy clicked off the radio, Jason just so casually looks at me and goes, "Hey, would you mind getting out of the car?"
You got kicked out.
I'm like, yeah, sure.
That's fair.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it 100. Me and Jels just big boyed it up, stayed in the same fucking car, and beat the shit out of those, and it was a blast. We were giggling like little schoolgirls. We didn't give a fuck. We stayed in the cars and we had a blast.
We ran a pretty decent time
We did,
too.
yeah, and we're the biggest boys there.
Yeah, you guys did great. It was
The DWSO6 plus size boys back in action.
it was a really good time. Tires did great. Tires did great in the wet and the dry. It was really fun. But then final day was probably for me. I enjoyed that day. I would say even like the most because we got to go see a Continental factory.
How the sausage is made.
The whole thing from the beginning, which by the way starts with a rubber tree.
Yeah.
We're not joking. We're not joking.
Well, it is weird though, because like the tree is just fucking rubber. Like that's what it is. It's such a weird.
It was so funny because we're like, we walk all the way to the back of the plant. We're like, literally, like they just bring in the raw materials.
It's inbound.
And it's this huge warehouse. And they're like, all right, yeah. So this is like, we got like the synthetics rubbers, we got like the carbon black, we got like the the cords and stuff like that. And then like, yeah, and then we got like the real rubber here, and they like open up and like, yeah, you can kind of take a piece of it and like, and we're like, damn, this is wild. You know, it's just like this
we poked it.
brick. It's like this crate. It's just a brick of like this brown squishy stuff. And we're like, what is, like, you know, how do they, you know, harvest this? They have to like melt it down or
bark?
something. They're like, no, it's just the tree.
Yeah.
Like, what do you,
I don't understand how it
like
grows
you just
like
cut that up? Like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so they get the trees out of like Malaysia,
Yeah.
Thailand, and some other countries as well. And then it's a huge process because they didn't let us take any photos or videos, which I thought
No
was really
photos,
big.
videos in the factory.
Yeah, I wanted it so
I wanted
bad.
to so bad.
Alex
But
was fucking
I did.
mad.
I was a little pissed about it,
He
but
didn't
that's
know what
okay.
he didn't know what to do with himself.
Because I wanted you guys to see it.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Concept of understanding how a tire is made is really tricky.
I watch how it's made.
I'm not gonna lie. The moment you asked for a pen and a notepad, I thought for a second that you were just gonna start drawing what you were saying.
Gotcha, fuckers.
No pictures. Okay.
Like those people in the courtroom that can't take their drawing rapidly.
That's what and then you started taking notes. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense.
Because so here we have 2 hours to understand what is,
Everything.
I'm not kidding, a 30-step process to make a tire. And it's loud as shit, and we've got these
Earplugs and everything.
earplugs in,
yeah.
and like we got one person talking, and it's like this. They're like, all right, so if you could just come over this way, we're gonna get talking.
Wait, hold on. Do that.
Yeah.
I'm like a fucking teacher's pet. So I run up to the front and I'm like, talk slow. I don't know what you're saying.
Say that again.
Yeah. And so we got to see, they mix it in this big, huge vat that's 3 stories.
That's wild.
Turns into this big, almost what seems like a piece of blacktop.
Yeah.
Is what it all turns
Yeah, like
into.
rolls out as like a huge sheet.
Yep. And then from there, they actually put the cords into it at the same time, or like in that step process.
They go to like their extruder that they call it. So they make the materials all from scratch, and it could be different materials that they make. And then they take like 3 to 4 to like 6, depending on which tires they're making. And they all bring all of that material together, depending on which part of the tire that they're making.
Yeah,
And
sidewall
extrude
or section tire.
And they extrude it into a specific shape. That gets rolled up into like what they call a cartridge.
Cassette.
Or a cassette. And then that goes to like an assembly portion. So like throughout the entire factory, you get to like one point and there's just these hundreds, if not thousands of these cassettes that are loaded up with just like pieces of tire.
Yeah.
So it's like here that's like all rolls of like sidewall material. That's all rolls of like tread. That's all rolls of, you know, like whatever.
If you thought multi-piece wheels were cool, you're gonna love tires now because tires are multi-piece. I didn't realize that.
One of the wildest things is as you're walking through this process, you think to yourself, okay, tire has to be rubber, gets hot, injected into a mold,
Yeah, you just mold it.
make shape good. And it's like, no.
Nothing
Every
like that.
single cassette has a different layer purpose of the tire. And then every single tire in the center plant is touched by a human being to assemble. So we got to go up to the station and we got to see somebody make what was called, or 2 people make what was called a green tire, which is essentially the process of turning a
All
piece
those
of
parts.
all those parts into the base of the tire.
Yeah, this is
for
where it
the
finally
rest of
starts
it.
to look
They literally
like a
assemble
tire.
it piece by piece.
And it goes from this like weird, just flat, it goes onto this roller, and then this machine does this yoga style
It's like
shit,
a balloon. Yeah.
and like takes the rubber and like folds it in on itself, heats it up, inflates it, and turns it into this like weird shape. They check the tolerances, they check to make sure everything is good, and then it goes on this little assembly, and it gets pushed over about 10 feet to the left, where another person then goes and adds the layers to that base tire. There's called a different name, but they add these bases, these other pieces of rubber onto it, and then the machine will seal and wrap and heat. And then at the end of it, you get what's called a green tire.
And if you've ever seen like those spare tires that you get that like you have to inflate, like they're kind of like all folded up in each other. That's exactly what it looks like. Like it looks super awkward. Like it's like, that's a tire.
Yeah, like that's gonna turn into a tire.
Yeah. And then it goes finally after like the 5 steps. finally goes to like what I would imagine making a tire looks like, with the big heated hot ass room with a ton of mold machines.
Yep.
And they get fucking like molded into like the tire with like the tread and everything.
Yeah,
like
but not
that.
how you think. They like take the rubber, they set it in the press, and it's kind of like in a tire shape, but it doesn't have anything that makes it recognizable as a tire. And then this press has all the like tread pattern, the sidewall info and stuff that goes on, and
There's a big balloon on it.
balloon on the inside that fills with steam and gets big and pushes the rubber out against the press
and heats it.
and that's what puts in the tread, and it gets insanely fucking hot, which you can feel when you're by it.
Yeah, it's like 100
and that's how it's almost like
110 degrees.
inverted how it's made. Like I thought it would be injected into something, but it's like being blown out into something.
And that's how it gets its shape.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird, but it was insanely cool.
A lot of times we get asked, why are tires priced the way that they are? After all, they all look the same. A lot of them have the same tread design, and a lot of times it's really tough for tire companies to explain why a tire is more expensive. And for me, what really sealed the deal, at least on the Continental side, as to why the price of their tire is what it is after that entire thing, there's hand station. People are like literally touching every portion of the tire to make sure it's all good. It goes through that process. It gets the tread. It gets pushed out the door, and you're like, finally, it's alive. And it's like, actually, no.
It might come back.
Nope, it's not. Because now it goes through 50,000 different tests where it gets tested against rolling resistance. It gets tested against the pressure. It gets tested against, can it handle a certain wheel diameter? And it does all of these tests. And if it's outside of the thresholds for it, it literally gets kicked back to a human being to inspect. Is it a bead thing? Is it a tread thing? Is it a weight thing? Is it out of balance? And every single tire is checked before it actually goes to the... So then it gets kicked back out. And it may have to go through that whole process again.
Yeah, which
Or just
wild
be
too, because it's
scrapped.
like in like some of like the factory jobs that I've worked, right? And it's like you're mass producing stuff like that. You take like a sample piece, right? After every like 100, you do like a sample, test it, make sure it's good. Yep, that one's good. That means like probably
rest are
the
good.
100 are good. No, it's every single fucking tire that gets pushed out of there.
The amount of data that they have on each tire is insane. Like I remember we were at one station, the tire was coming through, and I think it was to check the balancing, and he like pulled it up quick on the screen. It was just rows of data and numbers on this one tire, and they do it for every single one, and every single one is saved. You could probably be like, yo, show me a tire from October 17th, 1996. And they'd be like, oh yeah, here's the data on that one. That one was a little bit out of balance. We fixed it and sent it out.
Yeah,
It was nuts.
Yeah, every single tire. And then they have, like a check process. But then the coolest thing about the whole thing, as we were walking through it, I was under the assumption that they were just building and building and building and building, just constantly trying to keep up. But they almost follow like Toyota's like JIT system, if you enjoy that sort of talk, where it's like just in time. They're building exactly what they need every single day, nothing more, nothing less. And so all of that inventory we saw, all of that raw material we saw was just for like that week, essentially, of tires that they needed to make out of that plant. I just thought that was wild.
The craziest thing to me was when we first started, when it was like in the beginning of the process, they were talking about all of like the stuff for like white wall. I'm like,
My God,
like, what? Like white wall, like that's still a thing. Like it's huge, and it's actually a real pain in the ass to do. And we actually bought a brand new machine and had to build a whole building for it just so we can make even more of them.
Yeah.
And this it can do like the full like white wall tires as well. But what they were doing specifically is like some of the tires you can get, you probably see it like have like the raised lettering, and then there's white underneath it. It's not paint, like it's actual white like material.
Yeah, like white rubber.
And to be able to do that requires like a bunch of like setting up of like the machines that they have. And they're like, fine, like we're just gonna buy a custom made one that can hold like 6 cassettes of this shit to extrude it into one thing and do it the right way. And they literally had to build on an entire extra part of the factory in building.
If your tires have white letters or you have white walls, just know how much extra work goes in to get that. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
You can very clearly tell that like they'll do it. They're not exactly the most stoked about it.
Yeah, no, that was the thing. They're like, oh, God, but they sell though.
People love. I think it's like a lot of the truck community too,
Yeah.
because they make
Yeah.
truck tires and stuff too, and those have always white letters on the
Yeah.
side. People love that shit. So.
Yeah, it was so funny seeing like, a bunch of like DWS06s and some like, like more just like regular car tires, 17s, 18s. And then all of a sudden there'd just be like a fucking like 30-inch truck tire coming down. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's huge.
The cool thing is at least as we've gotten more into this, one of the things I always try to keep in mind, which is going to sound maybe lame to some people, but I care about it, is like the sustainability of it all, especially in like factories with wheels and tires. It's a very dirty business. Like overseas, we've been unfortunately blessed to see how a lot of those factories are, and it's disgusting and it's gross, and they don't usually take care of their surrounding environments, and they usually are just trying to, again, pump as much out as they can. And to be on American soil at an American factory, seeing tires get made in such a clean environment,
Oh, dude, spotless.
it was incredible. And this is a 10-year-old facility, and you could still squeak your shoes on the concrete if that gave you any indication as to how clean it was. And I asked, I was like, how do you keep this place so clean? And they're like,
doesn't stop.
they're like, we have no choice, because if it gets dirty, our like, what would you call it, like return or defect rate just skyrockets, because the rubber is so sensitive when it goes from being made in those systems to getting pressed down, to getting put the cloth in, to getting the steel cords put in, to get cooled. Like the water has to be at a perfect pH, and if it's not at a perfect pH, the whole thing gets shut down. It needs to be dried to a specific temperature. Like it can't sit any longer than a certain number of days. It has to stay this clean. And I thought that was really neat, because it shows a lot of times, again, the consumer, all they see is the price.
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day, the only thing you have to justify the tire for is how much does it cost. And to walk through that process, I'm like, yep.
Also,
makes
one
sense.
thing too that they said was like, this is one of our smaller factories.
Yeah.
Dude, that factory was huge.
Massive.
It was massive. So I'd love to see like
It
one
was
of the
literally
big
like
ones.
a mile long.
Yeah. We were walking for a minute to get to the other end of the building.
Yeah. So if you guys are ever interested, we're actually going to be doing a bigger video on that on the main channel, just so that we can try to dump that knowledge into
'Cause it's a lot, and it's
full video. It's a lot. Let us know. You can check it over at the MartiniWorks main channel. You can go subscribe to that one. Dakota, you want to give us our second awesome sponsor of the day?
Fortune Auto, we also got to go where they make those too. Man, we're getting smart. I'm
A lot
realizing.
of them on the East Coast.
We're getting real smart. Yeah, and they are on the East Coast. But Fortune Auto is amazing, and another brand that we are honored to have as a sponsor. I run them on my Supra, as you know, and getting to see the attention to detail yet again that this company puts into their products. This is why we work with them. We're working with some of the best, and that's what is it gets me hyped to come to work to every day, because Fortune Autos run good, real good. I have my cars very low pretty consistently.
You do, iconically, actually.
I think I almost need to get away from it, I think. But still, Fortune Autos ride so damn good, and that's why I've ran them since I'm 19 years old. If you didn't know, they're hand-built in the United States. You can send them in to get fixed, and they'll take them all apart and they'll sell them all back, so you don't got to buy a new set. And then they have a lineup for literally everything you need. If it's a daily driver, autocross car, track car, drifting, anything, they can build it perfectly to spec. And if you don't know what you need, the guys there answer questions so good, and they know exactly what they're talking about, and they will tell you exactly what you need to do what you want to do. So make sure to check out Fortune Auto at MartiniWorks.com.
We're going to talk about it, but not before talking about the people who made this possible. Thank you so much for picking something up from the MartiniWorks website.
You forgot last week.
It means the world. No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I edited the podcast.
Speed run, go!
All right, Dylan W, Michael F, Logan H, Moses J, Josh F, Cody B, Driver M, Driver Motorsports, Blaze G, Chris N, Michael T, Abel L, Michael T, Trey H, Robert O, Isaac T, Robert O, Sail A, Ryan T, Joshua A, Jared W, Jeffrey L, Jimmy H, Noah G, Christopher A, and Juan B, Trevor J, Henry T, Ole N, James G, John S, Jonathan O, and Louis Para. Thank you so
you guys.
much. Wow. Lots of
Getting your car parts through us.
Yeah, lots of wheel and tire packages that are getting picked up, which means the world to us. If you guys and gals didn't know, we can actually mount and balance, and then we can ship wheel and tire packages to your door.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, here's the difference, though. We care. We want it to turn up to you good, all right? Not all dinged up and batted up. Some places don't care about that. We do because we're car enthusiasts. And I ordered a side skirt for my Supra, and it came and it was the wrong one, and I was pissed. So I know exactly how you guys feel.
Yeah, it's pretty common. And on top of that, if you guys are wondering, we do have some really cool brands out there as well. We're really trying to push stuff that we stand behind, and we're trying to stay super honest about stuff, regardless on if it's a cheaper brand or a more expensive brand. We're always going to tell you the truth because we want you to feel confident when you're buying from us. We don't want you to feel like we're pulling a fast one. So we've seen a ton of people end up picking up some really cool stuff. Stage wheels. We have a lot of work, Kiwami one pieces that are rolling out of the door, which is absolutely awesome. And of course, when we're doing a lot of tire packaging, we are seeing tons of DWS 06 pluses. So thank you for listening to us. Hopefully, if you're picking up those tires, you are enjoying them as much as we have been. So
I love them, dude.
We just got Vulcan Rays on the website. So if you're looking for some TE37s,
Oh, I got a quick tire
Ram
story.
lights.
I drop a quick tire story quick?
You can drop whatever you want.
I sold one of my sets of wheels I had for the Supra, and the guy that had them, he was trying to negotiate with me, as you do, which is fair. He was very kind about it, so I appreciate that, first off. I had some General G-Max RS tires on there that I got to try out, and I thought they were all right. I liked them. They were pretty good. And when we were negotiating, I was like, well, dude, these are like brand new tires that are on here. He's like, no offense, but I don't want shit tires. And I was like, damn. I was like, just out of curiosity, like, what makes you say that? He's like, well, I'm just gonna be real. I've never even heard of them. That's why I said that. I was like, oh, okay. Well, they're not shit. I actually like them. Anyways, I got in contact with this dude, and I went to his place, check out his Supra, and we were working on cars a little bit. And I was like, hey, now that you've had these a little bit, unbiasedly, whether you hated them or you loved them, tell me what you thought about these tires. I just want to know. And he's like, you know, I actually took him to an autocross event.
Oh.
And he's like, they were pretty solid. He's like, honestly, not like the best tire I've ever had, but they were way better than what I expected, and they perform really well. And then he was like, in the wet handling, it rained. I couldn't believe it. He's like, I couldn't even kick the car out. If I let off the gas, it would suck the car back in and get right back on traction. He's like, they're 305, so they're pretty big dogs. But he said they were pretty impressed. So I thought that was neat because I don't know a lot of people running the General G-Max RS, and I think that's a good option if you're looking for an affordable performance tire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people, when they start going into the motorsports, like the price on things just goes up crazy. And we're really trying to show you maybe some of like the sneaky hidden gems that you can pick up that aren't, inherently super expensive. Because obviously the first thing people do is like, I must get the most expensive tire.
Right.
It's like, dude, that's going to suck when you have to replace it.
Cool if you can afford that. Not cool if it's all of your money going into that.
And it's really hard to afford that.
Dude.
I mean, just on the tire side of things and the brake side of things too. I mean, it gets easy to spend $1,000
you can
on a
spend
track day, $1,500 on a track day.
all day long.
And it's like, for what? It's like, oh, well, you get 2 hours of driving on the track. It's like, for $1,000?
Yeah,
Damn.
tires can be as expensive as wheels. It's easy,
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, we have some progress that we'd like to share with you guys and gals. And if you're working on a car build, drop it in the comments on how it's going. We have finally started to receive parts for our next dream build.
Yeah.
We can't tell you what it is,
Damn it.
but
I love this car.
do you?
I do love that car.
What's your favorite part of the car without giving away what the car is?
Yeah, 100. I can do that because there's only a few cars I've got into that give this feeling, and it's just the feeling when you drive it, and it's indescribable. It's just you get into it, you start driving it, and although it's not like crazy fast, crazy horsepower, making crazy noises, something about it feels so fucking right, and only a couple of cars have done that for me. So,
and that's one of them.
That's my favorite part. Yeah, this car is 100%. I'm not just saying that to say it. We've worked on other cars. They're cool. They're nice. This one hits different, as the kids would say.
I would say slow cars, in my opinion, are almost more enjoyable when you drive them casually around like town and stuff like that. I don't know how to explain it. For me, one of my favorite parts of that car has been windows down, 630, just cruising somewhere to grab dinner or something like that. And like you're cruising around, and again, not super quick, not super fast, not making a ton of noise, but it just feels proper.
No noise.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, it just feels proper. Gels?
I just love how fucking clean it is.
Yeah, let's talk
I
about
love the color too.
Yeah, let's talk about what we don't like. The hood weighs 1,000 pounds.
It is so fucking heavy.
It is insane.
For no reason.
Yeah,
No reason.
Like my Gloria hood has to be lighter than this car's hood, and that's saying something. Like everything I've touched on that car weighs 1 billion pounds.
yeah.
Oh, I got one. The windows roll down insanely slow and roll up insanely slow.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Is that a motor thing, or do you think that's just
Yeah,
a that thing?
You guys need to comment down
Maybe
below what you think
both.
this car is, by the way.
Because any types of these cars that I've had have always had horrible windows.
It's just like,
So maybe it's just the regulators going out.
Could be the regulators.
Maybe, I don't know.
it only has 30,000 miles.
Yeah,
She
no.
a baby.
Yeah,
The motor shouldn't be tired.
No.
Didn't do much.
hasn't done anything. We're sorting out the wheels. That's really exciting. We got 2 sets of wheels actually for it, so we're pretty excited for that. But the series is going to be really awesome. I think the goal for us is to show you guys and gals how to have fun with something that isn't the craziest version of a car. And we're also starting to plan out our third car that we have to start talking about and trying.
Yeah,
to
you're
find.
going all in on that one.
Well, I want to do something. So I've had this itch of trying to build a BMW for quite some time. Not an M3.
This is different than what I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about.
well,
Okay.
No,
I'm
th-
all
not
thrown
an M3, but like I think like a 135 would be fun, or something
N54
power to do for a dream build series, because you can get some really good power out of them. They seem to be super popular right now, and but it seems like anytime somebody tries to do it on a budget, they look like big doo doo. It's like, can you build one on a budget and not make it like big doo doo? I wonder.
No, it's a BMW, and BMW and budget sound a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. No, but I agree though. I think those platforms are incredible. I've seen some really crazy stuff come out of those cars, and I've never experienced that outside of maybe riding in some friends. But yeah, I think that would be a really cool one to dive into. And I don't really know a ton about it, so it'd be really nice to learn.
Last time I drove one, I accidentally broke it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you fucked that one up.
I did not. Drove it too slow, apparently. Like, that's a real thing.
I don't know. It's still broken. So.
Yeah, well, it's been 4 years.
No.
Let it go.
I feel like we've been talking in cryptic messages this whole third half of the podcast.
Well,
Yeah.
That car, the next car, what you're talking
Yeah.
about now, nobody knows what you're talking about.
I don't know what's going
You're
on
just
right now.
being
Well,
so
we were talking
cryptic.
about, okay, so we have
I
this,
broke someone's car when I
Jake, you both
Maybe
broke Beamer Street's car.
No.
drove it,
Jake,
but I didn't.
Jake Spence said that I broke his 135. I don't really know how or why I could have done that. I wasn't even that mean to it. That was back when we were doing a series where I did car
mean, he
reviews,
was-
which was super fun. I
was
want to
like-
review cars again.
He was like half joking that you broke it.
He's like, all I'm saying is that it was fine, and now it's not.
Yeah. Okay. BMW.
I let Alex drive my Supra once, and next thing I know, he's fucking launching it. I've never even launched the car. I've owned it for like fucking 2 months.
remember that.
Dude.
Sounded
Sending it down the road.
sounded sick too, didn't it?
Broke it.
Oh my!
Broke the height sensor.
It's
on
not broken yet, but when it breaks, you
it. I don't know how you managed to break the height sensor on that by doing it, but it was
Gels
crazy.
break that.
Gels
Don't
look-
let your friends touch your cars. They fucking destroy them.
I just
No respect.
They're like, we want
Car. You got no respect.
I'm gonna break this fucker right now.
It's already.
Yeah, done.
you. You can do a burnout in that when we get it back and running.
All right.
It can be fair game.
I'll hold you to it.
All right. we gotta give props to Dakota though.
Why?
Why?
He's been doing stuff
I have
He
been
worked
doing stuff.
on cars.
I did.
By himself.
Yeah, and I got shit done.
Isn't that the stuff that was overdue?
Curbed wheel fixed. Oil
Done.
change done.
Done.
Side skirt still broken.
Not your
Sent me
fault.
the wrong one.
Not your fault.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of this company, dude. I cannot get the fucking. It's so annoying. The Supra's close to being back to 100. Just need some HKS floor mats that I'll never buy. 'cause I
No,
can't
don't
afford it,
stop.
but I want them
stop.
so bad. I
Stop
want them
buying
so fucking bad.
$1,000 floor mats.
I'm
or
not
whatever.
going to buy. My wife would literally kill. That's one. Like she's cool about whatever I order for that one. She would be like, "You're sleeping outside forever."
You're sleeping on the floor mats.
That's true. Oh, is this one go out on the 5th of July?
Happy
If so.
5th.
Happy
If
5th
so,
of
I got an
July.
update. I got a
Yeah, I
big
think it
update.
does, yeah.
My wife bought the Transformers truck.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
we can finally talk about that.
yeah.
That fucker's huge.
It's literally sitting out there right now. I thought like we were getting construction work done on the fucking shop today when I rolled in.
Dude, we got new asphalt. You might want to fucking move it because you're
Yeah.
gonna stove in that asphalt. Like
No.
legit.
I legit think
She's gonna sink.
No, it'll be fine. So it is a 2008 Chevy C4500 Kodiak Monroe edition.
Fucking Christ, brother.
Crew cab, 6.6. That thing can tow every car in here plus the building itself, I think. It's huge. And it also has 150,000 miles. Becca saw the truck in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen and said, if we're buying a truck, I want that truck. And I said, honey, dearest, we were going to get like a 2020 Ford F-150 or F-250, Aluminum-duty, nice, reliable, easy to drive. Why do you want a school bus?
Because it's fucking sick.
And she's like, because
That thing could pull
sick.
a school bus like nothing.
And then she's like, but I want it. I want the crew cab. I want a normal bed.
Yep.
And I want it to be low miles. And we're going to turn it into Ironhide. And I was like, great. That's only the hardest freaking one to find. So
you guys have been searching for a while.
3.5 months it took us to find that truck.
I thought you guys gave up.
Yeah, I tried, and she kept reminding me, so I unforgot.
One of you gave up.
Yeah. So if you guys want to watch the whole series, because it's hilarious, because Becca in that truck, nothing makes sense when you see that. It's over on the Alex Martini channel. We dropped it on the 3rd of July, so it should be 2 days ago. It's going to be a pretty fun build. We're going to transform it into Ironhide.
Get it?
Yeah, and we're going to put stacks on it. We're going to lift
Put the
it.
cube in my chest, Sam.
Did you watch it recently?
No, I just remember that part.
Yeah.
Dakota
kept
says
saying
that,
it.
like what, just consistent. Like there's 2 times a week where I hear that line. I don't know.
Put the cube in my chest.
It is a constant in my life, and
I was hoping it was.
Optimus Prime. Yeah. Collaboration. Even Steven.
I thought you were going to talk about Shrek.
Transformers. Holes. Could have been.
All right. Well, with that being said, anything else you'd like to add? Very valuable insight to the podcast, Dakota?
Trying to think. No, I hope you guys enjoyed the information about tires as much as we did. And if you want to know more of that stuff, just let us know. It's obviously tough to like explain everything, but like just know too, Continental didn't like say like, oh, you guys gotta go talk about this on the podcast or anything.
We just want to show you.
They probably didn't want us to talk about it on the podcast because we weren't allowed to take video or photo either. So we just found it so interesting. It was so cool to see. I've never got to go to a tire factory, so that has me wanting to go to more because I just want to compare them and see what it's all about. And
I had a couple individuals who work at tire companies that they're like, man, we got to get you out to this factory. And I looked at it and I'm like, I have been asking to go for years. And now all of a sudden we go to one and you're like, oh, we should really get you out there. No shit. All right. Conti was the first one to get us out there. They get the props. I want to go see I want to see the factory so that I can start to compare them too. Because it's interesting to see, like, are they all like that? Are they not all like that? I don't think.
Well, you start to truly understand where the prices come from, why they say things that they do, why they're able to offer warranties that they offer, etc. So when we get those opportunities to go do that and go to the BMW Performance Driving School, now we get to actually talk to you guys and explain from experience and knowledge and not just what we read. So the more I can do that, the better. And I hope you guys enjoy hearing that kind of stuff.
It's also like, it kind of changes my whole perception when people are like, yeah, my tire delaminated.
Yeah.
Because then
it
I'm
makes
like,
way more sense now.
Yeah.
It makes so much more sense.
Wait, how? You know, you just think like the
What
tread like
delaminated?
falls off.
Yeah.
But now it's like if you were to hear that, or if I were to hear somebody's like, yeah, my Continental delaminated, I'd be like, there's no chance. Like I don't understand how that would even be possible.
I get it on a cheap tire, how it could happen 100% without the like quality control and shit.
But anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys are looking for car parts, MartiniWorks.com. We have Rays, we have Volk, and we have Rohana wheels on the website now, which is really, really exciting stuff. And yeah, we're pretty stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so hungry.
you two can kiss. I'm all done.
What the
Have a great
I'm gonna
day.
go eat food.
Yeah.
Bye.
Kiss my food.